Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnapasantaye Jnananandamayan Devam Nirmalasphटिकाकृतिम् Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Namaste and welcome all of you to this session on Geetaartha Sangraha, session number 27. So in the last time when we met, we were looking at the last 10 shlokas of the Geetaartha Sangraha, and last time when we met we were looking at shloka number, before that time, we forgot to यत्पदाम्भोरुहध्यान विध्वस्ताशेषकल्मषः वस्तुतामुपयातोऽहं यामुनेयं नमामितं यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितलानि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. So last time we were looking at the two shlokas 22 and 23 and 24. Karmayogas tapastirtha dana yajnadi sevanam jnana yogo jitasvantaihi parishuddhatmani sthitihi bhakti yogaha paraikanta pritya dhyanadishu sthitihi trayanam api yoganam tribhir anyonya sangamaha. Now we go to the next shloka, that is shloka number 25 of the Geetaartha Sangraha. I'll mute everybody so that the noises don't come. Nitya naimittikanancha pararadhana rupinam atmadrishtestrayopyete yogadvarena sadhakaha. Nitya naimittikanancha pararadhana rupinam atmadrishtehe trayopyete yogadvarena sadhakaha. What is the meaning of this? Pararadhana rupinam, of the form para aradhana. Para means the supreme Parama Purusha, that is Sriman Narayana. Para aradhana rupinam, of the form of worship of the Parama Purusha, who is none other than Sriman Narayana, Shriyapati. Nitya naimittikanam cha, of the Nitya karmas, that is the daily duties like Sandhya Vandana, Devata Puja and all these things, and Naimittika karmas, occasional duties like the Pitru Karyas and Amavasya, Tarpana and things like that. Ete trayaha api, these three yogas, that is the Karma Yoga, the Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, Yoga Dvarena, through the means of these yogas, Atma Drishte Sadhakaha, are the cause of realization of the Jivatman, which is Jivatma Sakshatkara. So these three yogas, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, done in the form of worship of the Parama Purusha, with the Nitya Karmas and the Naimittika Karmas, are the means of realization of Jivatman, is the meaning of this particular shloka. So this is also called Kaivalya. The three yogas which are of the form of worshipping the Parama Purusha, Sriman Narayana, through the performance of Nitya Karmas and Naimittika Karmas, serve as the means of the vision of the Jivatman through yoga. But our vision is basically to achieve Paramatma Sakshatkara, not just Jivatma Sakshatkara. Jivatma Sakshatkara is only an intermediate step on the way to Paramatma Sakshatkara. Now, for this particular shloka, Swami Deshikan has given a very detailed explanation. But before seeing that explanation, I thought we should spend some time, because last time there was a question on the nature of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So this small book is there called Three Entities, which is telling about matter, man and God. That is Achit, Chit and Paramatma. That is the three tattvas in the Sri Vaishnava Siddhanta. And this is authored by Mahamahopadhyaya N.S. Anantarangachar, whose son is now conducting the Sri Bhashya Kalakshepam in Kannada on YouTube. And this book is available for purchase at this website, anantarangachar.in. It has a very, very small, very succinct, very brief description, crisp and brief description in 130 pages, covered the whole thing. Whatever we need to know, basics about Vishishtadvaita are covered in this particular small book. So I wanted to take extracts of that book and show you what is the meaning of what he has told, what Anantarangacharya has told about karma, jnana and bhakti, and also prapatti, before going to the description which Vedanta Deshikar gives. This may actually take the whole time, so that so please bear with me if it takes time, because this is something which we have to really understand to the core. What is the meaning of karma yoga? What is the meaning of jnana yoga? We have already seen so many chapters, all the chapters of the Gita, and we have also seen what Yamunacharya says about karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. But let us also look at it in the form of simple English language, so that each of us can understand what is told, is what I was thinking. Soft copy is not available, it's only hard copy. It's available in the website here. Soft copy, I don't think is available, it's not available. So first, the process of sadhana according to our ancient masters is described here briefly. The three important factors that constitute sadhana are karma, which is action, jnana, which is knowledge, and bhakti, which is devotion. Now we go through each of these one by one. I think I'll zoom it a little bit so that you can clearly read. Okay, then what it says is these three are intertwined with one another. For example, in karma yoga, there is an aspect of jnana and bhakti, and in jnana yoga, there is aspect of karma and bhakti, and in bhakti yoga, there is aspect of karma and jnana. We already saw this in what Yamunacharya had told in the last session. This means the means upaya in which karma is predominant is karma yoga. So the upaya where jnana is predominant is jnana yoga, and the upaya where bhakti is predominant is bhakti yoga, that we know. Now let us look at each of these things, karma yoga, jnana yoga and bhakti yoga, in some little bit more detail. Karma yoga is I'll just read it and also give you some explanations wherever I feel necessary. Karma yoga is the very foundation of all spiritual sadhanas, spiritual progress. In karma yoga, karma, the action, is transformed into a means of spiritual perfection. There's difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma is basically doing action or work for the purpose of my own benefit. For karma yoga, it is done as a yoga, means as a means of attaining the Supreme Brahman. So karma yoga and karma are different from each other. No one can remain. Krishna himself says, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tisthati akarmakrit. Means no one can remain for a moment, even for a moment, without action. Man acts in different ways by his very nature. That tendency here is used to serve a higher purpose. Actions are generally motivated. They are performed for certain purposes and they bind man. So action binds a man. My teacher used to say, make sure that all the actions which we do in this particular lifespan, do not add one more janma to your account. Already the account is having several infinite number of janmas. Don't make sure that you don't add one more janma to that account, is what he used to say. So means perform the karmas in this janma so that it at least has a zero balance of addition in this janma, so that next it does not add some more. So slowly it should start decreasing like that. When a person performs various deeds for gaining certain ends, can you share the website and Telegram? Okay, I'll share it. For certain ends, when the person performs various deeds for gaining certain ends, he is necessarily looking forward to the benefits. When he succeeds, he feels happy. When he fails, he feels unhappy. Karma is thus leading to happiness or sorrow, depending on the result. Karma yoga, on the other hand, requires him to do all these actions in a disinterested way, is what it says. Means in karma there is asakti, whereas in karma yoga there is asakti. Asakti means no sakti. In karma it is full of sakti, it's asakti, it's engrossed in sakti, means it's too much engrossed in the fruits, whereas in karma yoga it is asakti. By doing so, his mind will be will not be affected whether the action succeeds or fails. Man is egocentric and he thinks of himself in terms of I and mine. This strong sense of ego binds him with all the actions. He is subjected to suffering. If only he is capable of transcending that nature of I and mine, he will have the mental equilibrium, freedom from anxiety, sufferings, and cravings. Karma Yoga aims to save the doer from this kind of ego. When one feels that he is not the doer, he is not related to the deed, and he does not desire the fruits of his actions, he will be in a blissful state, free from sorrow. This is like a caretaker taking care of a house. The caretaker makes all the actions for upkeep of the house. He puts full effort in a upkeep of the house. Internally, he knows that the house is not his. He is only a caretaker kind of thing. Karma Yoga trains one to gain this attitude and to be in a steadfast state of mind. Karma Yoga therefore is a means of changing one's attitude for freeing oneself from the inevitable results of one's own action. Karma Yoga saves one from suffering, while mere karma binds one to suffering. That's what I told you about Karma Yoga versus karma. It is ordained that, can we give up all the karma? That's the question which comes. If karma binds people, then I'll say that I will give up all the karma. No, that cannot be done. It is ordained that one should not abandon karma, but do it lifelong. It is told that Yamunacharya was giving Argya Pradhana even on the last day of his existence on this earth. So that's what we know. So there are other injunctions exhorting him to give up karma. Karma Yoga is a compromise of these two states. What is to be abandoned is the desire for fruits of these karmas and not the performance of the duties. By a happy combination of these two, the doctrine of Karma Yoga is evolved. Without the practice of Karma Yoga, the mind of an individual is not purified. The impurity of the mind is in the form of I, my, me, mine, for me. Karma Yoga disciplines the mind and enables him to get himself free from these three defects. I am not the doer. This is not my deed. The result is not for me. These are the forms of reflection that one should have while doing his Karma Yoga. This makes the ordinary karma into Karma Yoga. When he succeeds in gaining non-relationship with these, his mental peace is assured. It is to be noted that doing karma is a divine imperative and cannot be given up. He must perform all duties that are assigned to him perfectly and with great interest without attachment towards results, reflecting as stated above. Karma Yoga consists of these three aspects: a definite knowledge of the true nature of Atman, a firm conviction that the karma performed by him are the modes of worship of the Lord. If you see, I'm not sure how many have seen the Vidhan Sauda, the state assembly building in Karnataka, in Bangalore. In that, I used to go and see it when I was a child. I had seen it. There's a thing written on the wall of that, in the main outside wall of that building. It's written, "Government work is God's work." So in that way, every work what I do will become God's work. A firm conviction that worship is done as a mode of worship. It's not just God's work. It's done as a puja. It's done as a worship to the Lord. That kind of thing to be done in Karma Yoga. A clear awareness that he is not interested in the results of those actions. Next, we go further because there's too much to cover. A Karma Yogin dedicates all his actions to the Supreme Lord and performs all his actions properly for pleasing the Lord. There's no delegation, there's no dereliction of duty, there's no negligence. He does it with full Shraddha, with full devotion. He does the work, means taking all due diligence. The work has to be done, not in a hodgepodge or a negligent manner. The one aim of performance of all his actions is the service of the God through those actions. This ennobles him and inspires him with love for the divine. So Karma Yoga does what gives him the eligibility to do Jnana Yoga, is what is told. Karma Yoga encompasses all the aspects of sadhana, that is Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. There is an aspect of karma because it is the performance of duties and not non-performance. There's an aspect of bhakti because all karmas are dedicated to the Lord. There's an aspect of jnana because the doer always reflects upon the true nature of the individual. So Karma Yoga has the elements of Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga also while doing the karma. Karma Yoga prepares one for further disciplines of Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga itself is not the final sadhana, but it's a means in the path of the salvation. Okay, next we come to Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. Jnana Yoga is a spiritual means where knowledge of the Atman features predominantly. This is knowledge of the Atman. In Vishishtadvaita Siddhanta, it is knowledge of the Jivatman, which comes in Jnana Yoga, not knowledge of the Paramatman. The method of reflecting on the true nature of the Atman is called Jnana Yoga. This is not possible without Karma Yoga. One who has performed Karma Yoga and who has gained purity of the mind becomes qualified, becomes eligible for the Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga leads to self-realization, which is Jivatma Sakshatkara. Self-realization leads further on to Bhakti Yoga, and through Bhakti Yoga, one can get God realization, which is Paramatma Sakshatkara. Jnana Yoga gets us Jivatma Sakshatkara, whereas Bhakti Yoga gets us Paramatma Sakshatkara. So that's the difference in Vishishtadvaita, like that. The various steps of the Jnana Yoga are like this. A spiritual seeker gains knowledge of the scriptures through a religious teacher. The presence of the guru is supposed to be very, very important in our sadhana. It cannot be said that my guru is, I'll take a guru who is already passed away. No, that there should be a living guru who is able to give us day-to-day instructions about all the questions which clarifications of all the questions which we have, and tell us about the steps to perform. So the guru should be living person, is what is clearly told. It cannot be a person who is non-living. By practice of karma yoga, one gets rid of the impurities of the mind in the form of desires and aversions. Karma yoga contains in it an aspect of knowledge also, and because it is to be done with reflections of the true nature of Atman, karma yoga may directly lead to self-realization. It may also, see, in our Siddhanta, Jnana Yoga is an optional step, is what I have heard from Narasimhan sir. So, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga itself can lead us to Atma Sakshatkara, Jivatma Sakshatkara is what is told. Okay, we'll go further. These four shlokas, these are actually shlokas number 29, 30, 31, 32 of chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Geeta, where Yamunacharya gives a very special explanation for these four shlokas, and those are summarized in the points 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 here. So I'll just read the points. The yogi, Jnana Yogi, realizes that the nature of Atman in everybody in this universe, means including the body of an amoeba or an ant or a dog or a cat or a human being, the universe is similar in nature. So not the same, not identical, but similarity to the nature of the Atman, to the nature of his own Atman. And they are all essentially the nature of consciousness. This is known as similarity of the Atman. The next stage is realization of similarity between Atman and Jivatman and Paramatman. Both are of the nature of consciousness. Then he will realize that. In the third stage, he will realize oneness of Paramatman in this universe, as every entity other than the Paramatman is inhabited by Paramatman. Means Paramatman is Antaryami to everybody in this universe. In the fourth stage, or the highest stage, where one realizes that the Atman is not related in any way to the gains or losses. So what Yamunacharya says in the Bhashya is, even if there is a some bereavement of a near dear relative which happens, then he will not be affected, because Gurunapi Vichalyate. So Krishna says in the shloka, I think 29th shloka, even there is a great calamity which happens, he doesn't get perturbed. Anything happening to others is not related to him, because these are not related to the self. Similarly, anything which happens to him is not related to his Atman, which is different and distinct from the body. So the very nature that Atman is different and distinct from the body, that kind of realization gets firmed up in the stages of Jnana Yoga. This kind of understanding of the self makes him realize the essential unity of Jivatman and its true nature. Such an enlightened person will be above all dualities of life and will be steadfast in the Atman. At this stage, it is this stage that a sadhaka realizes his subservience to Paramatman, that he belongs to Paramatman, and his ultimate object of attainment is the bliss of communion with the Lord. Actually, Yamunacharya says in his Bhashya, that the true bhakta will not be able to separate, will not be able to tolerate even one moment of separation from the Lord. Even one moment of separation will be impossible to tolerate by real bhakta, is what it says. The bhakti yoga comes later now, but this is the step to that. He yearns to attain him. He becomes a meditator upon God and follows the path of bhakti to attain the supreme. These two disciplines of karma yoga and jnana yoga are accessories, angas to bhakti yoga, and the means of attainment of the supreme being is verily bhakti yoga. Parama Purusha, Paramatma Sakshatkara is bhakti yoga alone. Bhakti yoga is related to the Paramatman, and it's a bipolar process. The Jivatman is at one end and the Paramatman is at the other end. Intense feeling of love towards the Paramatman aimed at union with the Paramatman is the main theme of Bhakti yoga. As Adhakari, I hope this session is useful. I am slightly deviating from the topic of Geetaartha Sangraha, just because this topic I thought, because of the last question which came yesterday, last time, I thought this is very important for clarifications to be made. So I hope it's relevant to all of you.
Yes, it is very relevant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sadhaka
And also, just want to mention one small point. I was going through, I explored this, there's something called transpersonal psychology, that you have explored it. There's a guy called Stanislav Grof. So he did, for 50 years, he did the research on the LSD psychotherapy in a laboratory. And he says exactly the same first statement, actually. About the, he says one beautiful statement that, it's as if, someone Shakespeare dreams about the universe, and then he has some thousands of thoughts. And then all these, basically, that is a state of whole. And each of the thousands of thoughts is basically, the Jivatma. When they manifest their role individually, it looks like it's completely separate. But all these role plays were actually imagined by the cosmic godhead in one single dream or something like that. So he exactly talks about the Vaishnavi principle, that there are deities and there is a cosmic godhead, and finally it comes to
but one difference,
Satchidananda.
we don't talk about dream. See, we all think till it is reality. We don't say it's a dream. Right?
No, it's not a dream. Basically, he calls it as a holotropic experience. Basically, basically it is more or less the same thing. Only thing is that we do it through sadhana naturally. But there he has built some kind of a breath work. He actually came and talked to Tejamayananda and things like that. And he finally comes to, he is the only one who actually exactly agrees with our Sri Vaishnava principle of the difference between he says Shiva, Kali and all are archetypal beings. Actually, he says he encountered them even without talking to any
I think
Hindu.
I have a time limit here. I have a time limit.
Oh,
now
sorry.
we are
Okay.
only 40 minutes time
Good.
limit.
I just want to mention it because,
A sadhaka realizes his Atman is different and distinct from the body and others through the discipline of karma yoga and jnana yoga. He realized that he is subjected to worldly bondage on account of his intense attachment towards the objects of life, which are other than Paramatman. So, Paramatmani yo raktaha virakto aparamatmani. This is a statement which is made. Whoever is deeply engrossed only in Paramatman is completely away from everything which is other than Paramatman. Aparamatma, he is completely away from that. Paramatmani yo raktaha virakto aparamatmani. And it also says somewhere, it says that samsara and Paramatma are opposite. Suppose we are facing samsara, we are actually facing ulta, opposite, showing our back to Paramatman. Suppose we are facing Paramatman, we are having abhimukha to Paramatman, then we are ulta to the samsara. So a person cannot be engaged in both Paramatman and in samsara, is what is also told in the 40 Virodhis which come in Shiva Vaishnava Siddhanta. The first one is this one only, I think. So, during the performance of various actions with the desired for the experience of those results, he becomes committed to samsara. So, a seeker after liberation is advised to refrain from performance of kamya karma. Kamya karma means those karmas which are done with a desire in fruit. And is advised to and is exhorted to engage himself in the obligatory duties, that is the nitya karma and the naimittika karma. and dedicating all of them to the Lord. As I told you, everything is done as a worship of the Lord. By such detachment, the sadhaka realizes the true nature of his self, and he realizes he is inseparably related to the Paramatman as his Shesha, or the mode. So Paramatman is Sheshi, and Jivatman is the Shesha. He gives up the delusion that he is one with the body and gets rid of the delusion of the nature of the Atman being independent. Oh, what one more thing which is told is, all of us are thinking that our Atman is independent. So we have done what is called as Atmapahara Chaurya, means we have stolen the Atman from Paramatman, is told. Stolen our Jivatman and thinking I am independent. Whereas my Atman, everybody is Jivatman, actually belongs to Paramatman. And I am thinking I am independently doing something. So that is called Atmapahara Chaurya, is told. So that has to be got rid of. The awareness of utter subservience to the Lord is the urge for practicing Bhakti Yoga. Thereafter, he yearns to attain the Paramatman alone and develops dispassion towards everything other than Paramatman. The necessary prerequisite for commencement of Bhakti Yoga is this awareness of one's inseparable relationship with the Paramatman as the Shesha. Something like Apratak Siddha Sambandha is also what is told. So here in this paragraph, Anantarangacharya tells about the difference between Bhakti and Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti or devotion towards Lord is common to all that follow the path of karma or jnana. That is the very root of all sadhanas. Having faith in God and offering praise to Him for all benefits of life here and hereafter is common to all devotees. But Bhakti Yoga is a spiritual discipline where meditation upon God happens to be a means of liberation from worldly bondage. Bhakti Yoga is meant for liberation from samsara, worldly bondage, and attainment of Godhead. Here, the aspect of intense meditation is predominant, and the aspect of karma and jnana happen to be accessories to this yoga. This is thus a definite way of unceasing meditation upon Paramatman for the benefit of attaining him alone. So, and then the sadhana saptaka gets told here. That is the 7 steps to bhakti. This is told. These 7 steps are told in the Shri Bhashyam by Yamunacharya, Bhashyakar. So one is Viveka. Viveka means Viveka with respect to food, which is purity of the body, having food which is not having Jati dosha, Nimitta dosha, and Ashraya dosha. Next is freedom from desire or attachment, which is Vimoka. Third is Kriya, means performance of the ordained duties such as worship, study, worship of the God, discharge of prescribed duties of one station in life. Then Abhyasa, Kalyana, Kriya, practice of cardinal values such as truth, non-injury towards all the beings, straightforwardness, kindness, fasting, charity, and like that. And also there's something called anabhidya, where when one should not feel distressed at whatever has happened in the past in his life. Simply, most of us, even I, at some point of time, I used to brood. Why did this happen to me? Why did my friend do like this? Why did this fellow do like that? And things like that. That should also not be done. It has all happened. It's over. That's all. We have to go forward. That's called anabhidya. That's also one of the sadhana saptakas. And cultivating the habit of concentration every day, doing dhyana is what is told. And then anavasada and anudarsha. Anavasada means not having excessive happiness. Means if some lottery ticket, 10 lakh rupees bumper price comes, jumping around and going around like that, that's not that is not to be done. And also with
Kaun banega crorepati.
exactly, that kind of thing is completely not allowed. And then having at the time of a very very much something bad has happened, getting fully depressed and down, that also is not there. I think we are coming 8 o'clock now. There are 3 essential characteristics in the practice of such meditation. They are intense love towards Supreme Being, who is innermost self of all. This is to be practiced continuously without any break. This is to be done for the attainment of Supreme Being alone. There are still some more slides which I had prepared, but there's not much time. They're telling me that 10 minutes away from limit. So shall we do chanting now and continue the remaining things? There are 3 things, important things to know: Parabhakti, Parajnana, and Paramabhakti, which are very important in Ramanuja Siddhanta, because in Sharanagati Kadyam, Ramanujacharya tells about these things, and these are all defined beautifully. This is about 130 pages. This is a 130 page book. I think we will close this step now, and then we'll go for chanting because we are already out of time. And then I'll cover the remaining 2-3 pages which are there in the next session, and then we'll go continue with the Geetaartha Sangraha. Okay, so can we, if there are any questions on whatever I have told you, if I can answer, then I'll answer. Otherwise, we'll go to chanting.
I have one question.
Yeah,
My
please.
name is Champaka.
Please tell me, madam.
That is constant practice of devotion or preeti. Is it can it be achieved by constant practice?
Yeah, practice, constant practice only, because even in Jnana Yoga, Krishna says in chapter 6 that Abhyasena ta kauntaya vairagnyena cha grihyate is what he says. No, Abhyasa is most important. Even Abhyasa Yoga is what is told. Because I think in 8th chapter or something, he tells about Abhyasa Yoga. Abhyasa practice is very important, yeah. Otherwise, nothing will happen.
இல்ல என்னோட கொஸ்டின் என்னன்னா,
ஆமா சொல்லுங்க.
ஒரு பிராக்டிஸ்னால ஒருத்தருக்கு பகவான் ரொம்ப பிரீத்தி பண்ண முடியுமா? பை பிராக்டிஸ். Is it possible? Should it not come on its own? It is like a oozing fountain like it oozes out from the heart.
ஆமா.
Will it be practiced? Can it be practiced?
இவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, பக்தி கர்மயோகா ஞான யோகா அதெல்லாம் பண்ணி முடிச்சா அந்த பக்தி ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா அது வரும்னு சொல்றா அந்த மாதிரி.
ஓஹோ சரி.
It will come on its own if we have really done karma yoga and jnana yoga to the full extent, to whatever capacity we can do, then surely bhakti will come, is what is told.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a state to be attained. Actually, it is not an ordinary state. It is a state to be attained through all the practices and through the acharya's blessings.
Yeah, I think we'll go. Any other questions? We'll go for chanting. Very little time. Okay, I'll tell the prayer and close the recording. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Sanmangalani Bhavantu Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.